The dog Rapid Roy, from the WILDSIDE'S kennel. Me, I always wanted a puppy, from Mr. E.D. and Chris. They both had a backyard. And one of them had a dog, called Bandit, and the other one, a female called GYP, at the kennel. Well, that cross couldn't be made, so they brought in another female to replace the GYP. Of course, they did it, with my permission. The father of Roy, is the same one, who was already foreseen to be bred, the dog Bandit, and the mother, is the female of WILDSIDE'S Wild, the bitch Cherry. For me, they couldn't have done any better. They knew I liked the dogs, from the ELI bloodline, crossed with the dogs from the Snooty bloodline. I got Roy when he was still a puppy. He was 2 months and 15 days old. Since he was a puppy, he has always shown me to be a real character. I decided to bring Roy indoors. We had snow, ahead of schedule, and it was quite cold at the time. He stayed indoors, for about a week. I could tell we were looking to ruin this dog before his campaign in the fight. Roy led the good life. He didn't need to care about anything, as he was, my wife's dog. He was always more spoiled. He was spoiled with toys and she had time to play with Roy. I built a spring pole, for this dog's amusement. So, at 10 months old, Roy was introduced to the training tools for his trade. And he understood very well, how he had to train. It was around this time, that I decided to give him a taste, of the 4 walls, of a ring. It was tested, against a dog, about 18 months old. He liked the fight, just like he liked his toys. He showed, a lack of interest. But I don't mean to say that he didn't come back from scratch or that he didn't bite. He had the same interest as a dog, who was going out to play, in 20 degrees below zero. Why, they want out, and Roy, it was like that. The second time Roy did a fight test, he behaved very well, for 23 minutes of the fight, and showed me a lot of intelligence. That was the last easy task, for Roy. He was 14 months old. The next 3 test fights were with dogs, bigger than Roy. They weighed around 50 pounds, and none made it past 40 minutes against Roy. In those fight tests, Roy's tendons were torn, his foot was broken, and thus, Roy's paws were never the same again. At the end of August, 1993, I lost a fight, and I thought about bringing Roy to fight. I had a visit from Prominent Dog in Texas. They stayed at home for a week and this friend of mine told me I think Roy doesn't have the guts, he must be a runner. I said, maybe so. But, it doesn't look like you have enough dogs in the yard to make him give up. Well, we got him in the ring around midnight. And he won the fight in an hour and 6 minutes, and so, we decided to pull them out of the fight. The other day, over coffee, in the morning. My friend told me, I think now would be the right time, to find out if he really is brave or not. We go back to the yard, and we get Roy. 9 hours later, the fight lasted 1 hour and 6 minutes. When we released the dogs, Roy got in as best he could, and showed that he wasn't going to give up any time soon. I said to my friend, come back in a month, and he'll be the right weight to fight your dog. In a month, we had the fight. The weight was 20 kilos, Rapid Roy against Hoover from Kirkland, and from Fall. I started training with Roy, in October, since the fight would be in November. Roy, always trained, and he always used, the tools. So it was easy to work with Roy. After checking Roy's health, and obtaining a health certificate, We were ready for the trip, which was going to happen, in a week. My partner came to visit me before the fight. When he went to take some pictures, with Roy, he told me, "I think this is the last time I get to take a picture with Roy. I know that if you decided to fight him, you have a special reason, and that dog, it shouldn't be just any dog." When I left Canada, the temperature was 45 degrees. When I landed in Boston, it was 90 degrees. It was hard to get Roy used to this hot, humid air. Due to this dramatic change, I even had to change my eating plan. On fight day, we traveled about 6 hours. The fight would be in Louisiana, and today was the day for Roy to show what he really was. I had heard that I was coming in against a dog, strong, and with a heavy mouth. My plan was for Roy to face the storm, and for him to use his intelligence, and mainly his gameness, since his mouth was not enough. We were second to fight, in a 5-dog show. Many of the big names were there, along with Canadians. And I with few people, besides the crowd I traveled with. At the weigh-in, Roy weighed 20 kilos, and the same happened to Roy's opponent. The FAUL was fixing, the dog bossman, to fight. Kirkland would be the guy who was going to fight against me. To be honest, his dog was more agitated than my Roy. In command, fight. I released Roy, and he went to work. In the first 7 minutes of the fight, nobody bet, not even $5, against Rapid Roy, and Canadians. He broke the bossman's shoulder, on the first bite, and got on with the job. It was the first time in his life that Roy had a real advantage over a dog. My friend was at ringside, fall, and he screamed, "Shit, this can't be the same dog we did that test over in Canada." I have to admit, that Kirkland, and Mr. Fall. They brought a real bulldog. That's a fact, so much so that Bossman won the Gameness show that night. Roy got a little tired in the first 20 minutes. After that, he caught his breath, and we spent an hour of fighting. Petty from Bleedwater was next to me in the corner of the ring. At the scratch, at the time of the 30-second count, he pushed everyone away, who was watching, while I was handling the Roy. He did this, so that Roy could catch some fresh air, which was coming from the door, which was open. I believe it was like 100 degrees inside the ring. And Petty's concern was that Roy would overheat. 1 hour and 4 minutes into the fight, Judge T. Grubbs said, "Guys, in case you wanted to know, it's been an hour and 4 minutes into the fight." I said, "Let's get this over with." It was at this point that Roy finally showed what a bulldog would be. He put the bottom part of his jaw around the bossman's neck, and he put the top part of his jaw around the back of the neck, and he bit down. He could hear the crack. The bossman fell to the ground. He was dead, hard as a rock, and Roy kept chewing on the bossman's skull. The Rapid Roy was declared the winner, in 1 hour and 7 minutes of fight. There were a few more experienced dogmans there, and they said they hadn't seen a mouth like that in years. I must say, I haven't seen a bulldog better than Roy's opponent in a while. This dog scratched his face on the ground, until the time of death. He only stopped when he died. In closing, Roy is on the Wildside kennels. He won't be matched again. He had an accident, and had to have an operation, on his salivary glands. We believe this, which may have caused paralysis, in his jaw. And that, took away the big mouth he had. And when I think about what makes a dog fast, I think about that. A dog, who loves to work. A dog, who will not be afraid of crowds. A dog that will travel anywhere and perform as needed. A dog, who will kill his opponent, because he wants to kill him. Well, Roy has all these qualities and more. I believe he will pass this on to his offspring. I already have dogs, his son, and to me, he looks a lot like him.
My name is Rodolpho Luiz, and I thank you all. See also the video by Zebo and creator Earl Tudor. God bless you.